Hey, what's up guys? My name is Holly. On Instagram, I'm DocHollyFit, or I started the Muscle Mommies account to start a community of women who want to learn and grow and progress and start their weightlifting journeys together. Whether you are just starting and you don't really know your way around lifting weights, or maybe you have been at it for a while and it's just not working for you. You've plateaued, maybe you haven't hit the actual result that you want. For me, it was I could never gain muscle because I didn't have the right strategy. I just kept looking, I have the body that looks really lean, so I wasn't building muscle properly. I thought I was working out really hard for a long time. I thought I was doing everything right, and still I had nothing to show for it. And I think that's true for so many women because there's a lot of misinformation out there, and it leaves us thinking more and more and more is better, or that we have to do every single new exercise we find, push ourselves for high calorie burn exercises, do fitness classes, and it ends up back at square one. And don't get me wrong, for a healthy body, movement is medicine. Any type of movement I'm for. Listen, I'm a physical therapist, and at the end of the day, I just want you to move in a way that you enjoy and that keeps you living a healthy, active lifestyle for longevity purposes and avoiding injury, right? Movement is key. But I know so many of you, yes, you want that, but you also want to look good in a bikini. You also want to feel good in your clothes. You also want to look in the mirror and be happy with what you see. Maybe you have a vacation or an event coming up and you're like, okay, well, what can I do to kind of reach my body goals? I've never done it the right way and I want to learn how. And I am not offering any quick results. What I want to share with you is more like the lifestyle of building the body we want over time. I love the quote that's like, how does it go? We overestimate what we can do in 1 year or just the short term, and we underestimate what we can do in 5-10 years down the road. So I'm not thinking of just right now, I'm thinking of the future for you, because building muscle is not easy and does take a lot of consistency, but also for hard gainers like me, or maybe you have 5-10 pounds to lose and you just haven't been able to do it, it's gonna take a little bit more effort to plan it out for you specifically. So today, I'm going to share how I've learned to strategize my methodology so that it works for the long term. There's 3 different pillars. My first one is build it. That's all about my weightlifting strategy, and we're gonna focus on that one today. My second pillar is fuel it. For so many of us, we don't actually hit our results because we're not eating properly. We haven't learned how to create healthy, balanced meals. We fall off the wagon, get back on, or we're simply not eating enough. We eat like rabbits because the media tells us to restrict our calories in order to have a skinny physique. No, we're not doing that. We're gonna fuel our bodies for life and get the result we want. So we're gonna talk about fueling our body, a nutrition strategy, and then we're gonna talk about my final pillar, which is live it. That is going to be all the lifestyle stuff. This is all about you deciding, hey, I want this result, and knowing it's not gonna happen by just like doing a phase, like a fitness phase, or like a little workout 30-day program before an event. No, this is you integrating bit by bit these habits into your lifestyle so you are a changed version, better version of you, the new iteration of you, the evolved version of you that is confident, feeling sexy, feeling energized, not as moody, and just ready, like when you walk into a room, to fully shine. And I know that sounds silly, but lifting weights also helps us to feel good about ourselves. And when we feel good about ourselves, and when we walk into rooms, we can be our full, authentic selves. We don't feel like hiding behind something. We feel free to be ourselves, which is going to take away anxiety. Well, hopefully it'll lessen depression, self-consciousness, and you're just going to be a better version of you. So that being said, I'm going to talk to you about kind of mistakes I made along my journey and just my strategy in terms of lifting weights and actually building the body you want. You ready to dive in? Is this you? I hope you're still here, and I hope you're excited about this little video. Okay, I'll try to keep my story brief because this isn't about me, it's about me sharing parts of my story so that you might resonate and it can help you in the long run. So I've always been kind of obsessed with movement. It started early on in high school. I think a lot of us do feel that pressure in high school to look a certain way. And I didn't gain a whole lot of weight, but freshman year of high school, I did gain. I started to like really binge on sweets, and I gained like 10 pounds out of nowhere. And I didn't like it. I was like, wait, what's going on? So me being like type A, kind of obsessive personality, I was like, I need to get rid of this weight. And it kind of led to disordered working out habits and eating habits. I could kind of dive in more there, but I'm just going to keep it at that. I eventually, like, friends' parents started to worry about me. They were like, Holly's kind of getting too skinny. Is everything okay? And when I heard some of that like chatter, mentally I was like, wait, that's not what I was trying to do. Dang, like, what do I do now? And then I pulled myself out of it. Obviously, it was a little bit longer journey than that, spanning more years, but I want to get through this. So at an early age, I was already concerned with what I was eating and how I was moving my body. Before that, I was really involved in soccer, volleyball, track, but then I started working at the desk at a fitness center my junior year of high school, and I really looked up to the instructors, and I thought that's what I want to do with my life. So I started getting my certifications, and that really led me to wanting to be a physical therapist. I always knew that I was going to work and help people in movement. So I did go into physical therapy school. I did learn how, I went to Michigan first, studied kinesiology, which is movement science. Throughout all my education, I have learned, of course, how to work out better and correctly and safely for our bodies. It did take me a little bit longer to understand the right nutrition for the workouts I was doing. Yes, I learned how to eat healthy, but I think there's still always that seed planted in our mind that's like, less is better for food and more is better for exercise, and like all of these things are just so not good. So I kind of wrote down my mistakes here. A lot of my mistakes in lifting was I was doing way too many exercises. I wasn't resting at all. I thought I had to go into the gym and just do every exercise that I knew of, or even every new exercise that I found on social media. And I think a lot of people resonate with that because of Instagram. We look at a fitness influencer that we look up to, we see their workout routine, we pull it up on our phone, maybe we save it, and we just copy it. But because we're just copying different workouts all the time, there's no plan, and you're still not where you want to be. Obviously, you're still listening to this video, so you know what I mean. I was doing too much cardio. I ran a lot. I was a cardio bunny. I was doing like classes all the time, just thinking that's what I had to do. I not knowingly was under eating for how much activity I was doing, and I was neglecting just focusing on my macros, getting enough protein. So I really like to go that approach and learning just how to create healthy, balanced meals. How much protein do you need? How much calories do you need for your body to stay healthy and also build muscle. It's more than we think. And in the end of the day, I failed to implement a structured plan with the specialization I wanted and with proper recovery. I was doing too much and it was not helping. It's like better, more is not better, but better quality planning and a customized routine is better. So I'm gonna share with you some like general stuff, but of course, we're all a little bit different, and so just take that with a grain of salt as we go on. So the Build It pillar is really the foundation of my methodology. So let's kind of dive into the framework that centers around lifting weights. And also let's just get some misconceptions straight about that. So I do work with a lot of people who are like in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, and I feel like this age range is still like understanding, even though it's coming out more and more that weightlifting is not going to make you bulky. I still believe that this idea was planted in our mind from an early age that we lift heavy weights and we're gonna look like the Hulk, or it's dangerous for our bodies, how we're gonna hurt ourselves. All of these things are just not true. So let's just talk about a little graphic. This is you today, and this way up here, this linear approach, is you too jacked. This is She-Hulk. This is too muscular. And maybe you want to be like leaned and toned. Maybe you want to perk up your butt a little bit, like all of these things that they sound maybe selfish. I don't know what the word is, but in the back of your mind, you know that you do also want this for looking better. So let's just throw that out there. There's somewhere in between you today and you being too jacked with the muscle definition that you want. Somewhere here in the middle. There is not a different way to tone our body than there is to build muscle. Toning equals building muscle. They are exactly the same term. Toning just sounds sexy because it sounds like we're going to be lean and cute and it's more feminine. But no, it is the same exact thing. It's just that we don't realize that muscle is dense. It doesn't take up a lot of space, and it's really freaking hard to get to the point where you are too jacked. You are not going to get there, especially if you're at the beginning of your journey. You don't realize how hard it is to build muscle effectively. So there's somewhere in the middle where you will be happy, and you probably will realize even that point is a lot harder to reach. And that's when you can maintain. And maintaining muscle is so much easier than building it. So that is the good news, is like maybe you will get there and voila, our work here is done. You're living the lifestyle, you know what to do, you're crushing it, and you just keep on keeping on. You don't stop, because then we regress. It is now a part of you. So if you want to be a gym girl and lift weights, then we must learn how to do it right. So let's keep on keeping on. I hope that cleared up that you are not going to look like the She-Man. It's actually going to help you build those feminine curves and feel good about yourself. So if you're tired of not reaching your fitness goals and genuinely want to look fit, gain strength, and be healthy and strong, then you're in the right place. Let's talk about my plan of how we're gonna do that with the strength and hypertrophy focus. Are you ready to talk about how I go about creating your program, or how you can think about creating your own program in the future? Well, this is what we're gonna start with. And during this conversation, I might bring a lot of like gym terms into it. If you have any questions about that, reach out to me. So basically, we just need to know how much exercise you have time for and also want to do in your life. So look at your schedule and decide how many days you are available and willing to go to the gym. Once you have this figured out, then we're gonna figure out your split. Maybe you're doing legs, maybe you're doing shoulders and triceps one day, maybe you're doing back and biceps one day, for example. Maybe you're doing 2 lower, 1 full upper. This is when we decide what your goals are, and then we choose exercise sizes that are going to basically get the result in your body that you want to have. But let's get a little bit deeper into this. So one of the big mistakes that I made for a long time is doing too much. So the way I like to think about it, so I make sure that I give you the right amount of exercises, is to do 4 to 6 exercises per session, and then 15 to 20 sets of the exercises per muscle group per week. So that's when we kind of have to divide it up based off of how many days you're going to the gym. Now, if this already kind of seems over your head, this is when it might be good to work with a coach that can give you a program that makes sense for your starting point and for your goals. So I like to think of reps that are going to challenge you enough to get the change in your body you want to see. Now that seems obvious that you only want to do exercises that keep you on track, but how do you know if that's what you're doing? Well, that's why I like to keep the rep scheme between 6 and 12 reps per set. If we do a whole lot more, then it's more challenging to get to stimulating reps that cause change, okay? Building muscle, especially for heart gainers like me, is difficult and is going to require us to put enough intensity into the exercises we do to change, okay? So it's easier when we have less reps to worry about, that we know that we're getting to the point where we're fully challenged, and that's what's going to create change. So how do we know that we're challenging ourselves or pushing ourselves hard enough? I did write a blog about this, so I'll put it here. Let me just start out for you who are new to this, like you haven't really weightlifted ever. That is okay, but your priority isn't really pushing yourself all out yet. Yours is just learning the right form and the right technique and building that foundation that's going to keep your body safe and healthy for the rest of your lifting program. Okay? Even advanced lifters are still improving their form, they're improving the depth, the range of motion, and their mind-muscle connection. These are things that we can continuously get better at. I just want to emphasize that for beginners. Let's say we're doing 3 sets of an exercise. Your first set, I always call it a feeler set. This is when you're kind of feeling like how your body is that day, how much energy do I have, how is the weight moving. Then you're gonna rest and you're gonna do a second and third set, resting in between. You want the last 3 to 5 reps per set to be all out and close to muscle failure. Those are the reps that are stimulating enough to create change. This is enough to make our muscles want and need to grow. So here's what you need to know. When you're reaching muscle failure, the weight's gonna start moving slower, even though you're not trying to do that. Your body's tempted to want to compensate, to change your form and kind of swing it up, use momentum, use other muscle groups, and you know what that feels like, so you prevent it from happening. You either have to stop because, number one, maybe your muscles just burn so much that you need to stop, or number two, you just simply cannot generate the force to do it anymore. And that's when you know you're working hard enough. When you are working that hard, our rest intervals are so important. I always want you to time your rest between sets. But don't overlook this. I used to screw myself because I thought that like 30 to 60 seconds was like a good enough rest, and I would like go into my next exercise, and I wondered why it wasn't changing. Well, you should be so tired out that you require at least 2 minutes, sometimes for like big exercises like a compound lift, which is like a squat, a deadlift, a military press. You are using more than one muscle group and more than one joint is moving. That's a lot going on in our body that we need to rest from. So you might rest over 3 minutes, but you're pushing yourself hard enough to earn it. So we're lifting to earn those rest intervals so our muscle cells can replenish their energy sources. They have to get more ATP, more creatine, so that we can push it again. So intensity is always going to trump volume. More is not better. Better reps are better. And then my next point is, let's talk about recovery. So we just talked about rest intervals between sets being like 2 to 3 minutes. But we actually don't build in the gym. We build muscle when we leave the gym. Now, if we're doing too much and our body can't recover, then we're in a constant state of breakdown. And this is overtraining, and you're not going to get the result you want because of this. Now, depending on you, it's very individual for how fast your body can recover in order to build and keep adapting, keep growing, keep changing towards your goal. So that's why having effective amount of volume, your reps, your sets, and intensity matter so you don't overdo it. So between muscle groups, I like to leave at least 2 days. Like, I'm gonna do legs on Monday, I'm gonna leave Tuesday and Wednesday to do something else, and maybe hit it again on Thursday, for example. This is one of the reasons why also you don't want to overdo volume during your exercises, because it's gonna be harder for you to recover for the next time you hit that muscle group again a couple days later. So your mindset going into each exercise should be focused on like lifting heavier over time and not always doing more reps over the time. So that's what you're gonna prioritize. So you do enough reps that matter for change, not just extra volume that's gonna tire your body out, lead you to not recover, and it'll all be for no reason. So now let's talk about how we can progress to avoid overtraining and to get us to our goals. So let's think about progressive overload. Progressive overload is the term of you getting better every single time and continually challenging yourself so that your muscles do have to change and grow. We're gonna look at it first by increasing in reps and then by increasing in weight, which in the end of the day, I do want you to get better at increasing in weight. So let's think about the rep scheme that I tend to stick with, 6 to 10. So you're gonna start week 1 with 6 reps with a certain amount of weight. Then week 2, you're gonna see that you did 6 reps last week, you're gonna try to get 2 more. Okay, now I'm getting 8 reps. Then you're getting 2 more the 3rd week, and now I'm getting 10 reps. So you've hit 10 reps with 3 weeks ago, you were doing 6 reps with the same weight. That's one way to progress. Another way to progress, so now we can talk about progressing in weight. It's doing the same amount of reps that you've done before with the same depth, the same form. You're not cheating or anything, but just adding more weight. So eventually I might get to a point with you in your program where I have you doing like 8 to 10 reps for consecutive weeks. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna look and you'll see, okay, I did 30 pounds for my RDL for 8 reps. Next week, I'm gonna try to do 35 pounds and also hit 8 reps. But you're upping your weight by 5 pounds, so you might not actually hit the 8 reps. You might fall short and hit failure by 6 to 7 reps. Great, we love that. But I wanted you to be in the 8 to 10 rep range. So next week, you're gonna do it again with 35 pounds, and you'll probably now be able to hit it for 7 or 8 reps, and then again for 8 to 9 reps, then you'll hit 10 reps with it. So all this to say is that I want you to prioritize lifting a heavy weight, look at what you did last week, and try to beat it by either adding more weight or more reps in the 6 to 10 rep range. Do we have it? Does that make sense? So I'd rather you try to go a little heavier over time and fall short of the rep range. That way you can get yourself back up to 8 to 10 and then do it again. So that's how you prioritize weight. Does that make sense? I hope that made sense. One thing that I do push a little bit more is glutes, because the glutes can handle a lot of volume and I'm a big fan of growing the glutes. So I might push that to more like 30 sets per week. Wonderful. That highlights exercise selection. So for you, like depending on your goals, we might choose different exercises. For me, I'm working on those ratios in hourglass figure. So I'm focusing on my back and I'm focusing on my glutes, areas of my body that you can emphasize to create that nice figure. It might be full body for you. You might really want to work on your shoulders, for example. There's different ways we can make your program that fits your goal. All of the exercises will emphasize your core and your posture. Back to those who are new to this, a sturdy spine is the foundation for all of our movements. If we don't have a strong enough core and we're not strong enough around our joints, like our shoulder joints and our hip joints, then those muscles are going to always try to be stabilizing our body while we're doing the exercise, and will prevent us from being able to really isolate the muscle group we want to work. So at the beginning, really focus, and always focus on core activation properly and posture. Like if I'm trying to work my shoulders, but I'm shoulder pressing like this, it's gonna lead to problems in my shoulders. So you always want to think, broaden my chest, engage my mid-back, kind of knit those ribs down to keep your core strong, always working that lower core as well, just feeling that foundation sturdy, and then we do the exercise properly. Depending on your past injuries, aches, or pains, you might require a little bit more of what I call corrective exercises around this, so that you can do every other exercise properly and keep building and growing from there. So that's when it gets a little bit more one-on-one with me and you. Also, since I'm a physical therapist, I can help you with all these things. So when I walk into the gym, this is how I'm thinking about it. I'm gonna warm up, do a dynamic mobility warm up, then I'm gonna do my corrective exercises, then I'm gonna do my 4 to 5 to 6 exercises, that's the meat of my workout, and then I'm gonna cool down. Every exercise is the core exercise and posture exercise, so you're gonna be intentional about keeping that. I'm gonna help you progress safely and effectively. I've been helping countless women who have transformed their bodies, gained confidence, and improved their overall well-being, and it's possible for you too. I could talk, as you can see, all day and night about this, but I don't want to keep jabbing away and not have like the point stick. So what we talked about today was the misconception that muscle tone and building muscle is the same thing, and it's not going to make you bulky if you don't want it to. Then we talked about overdoing it, like doing too many exercises with junk volume and not pushing ourselves hard enough. So we talked about the right amount of volume to do, the right amount of rest to do, how to progress over time, and know that you're pushing it hard enough to create change. I also stress the importance that change won't happen if we're not eating right. Today we don't have time to talk about the fuel aspect of my program, but that is essential. So all of this is possible no matter who you are, no matter what frame you start with. If you are lean and you just can't seem to gain muscle, you need a program that is going to be centered upon this. And if you want to lose the last 5 to 10 pounds, oftentimes you need to gain muscle, and this is going to help you do that so that you're happy with the result in your body. So I hope that this cleared some things up and is going to help you overcome plateaus. And if you have questions based off of my strategy for building programs, I do hope you let me know. If you're ready to build a strong, fit, and healthy body while avoiding these mistakes, I am here to guide you every step of the way. So we'll keep creating video series based off of interest and what questions you guys have. So please continue to reach out and ask me so I can just serve you the best that I can. And thanks for being here and watching this whole thing, because it did end up being pretty long, and it just means a lot to me that you're putting yourself first and showing up to learn. So congrats, my friend. See you next time.